Hi, everybody. My name is Dionne Jacksmillow. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And in case you don't know me, I'm a journalist, a broadcaster, I'm a teacher, and importantly, for a lot of what I want to do here, I'm a lawyer. And it's really important to me to help people to understand what's happening in the courts. I find that people really want to know. They want to follow this trial or that important case. They want to know what's going on. But sometimes people in the legal profession are really talk English, They talk legalese and talk Latin. And it sometimes sounds like they might talk to them one another. And they're not talking to everybody else. So I want to help to demystify the courts for you. And this cartel case is a great way to start. So let's catch up in terms of where we are now, because it's June 10, it's 2024. The Jamaican Court of Appeal has just started hearing has just started the hearing, perhaps I should say. We've just had day one of the hearing in which the Court of Appeal will be deciding if Vybz Kartel, Adidja Palmer, and his three co-accused, Andre St. John, Sean Campbell, known as Sean Storm, and Kahira Jones, if they should all be retried for the alleged murder of Clive Lizard Williams that took place in 2011. Now, remember where we are. 2011, the men were arrested. They went on trial in 2014. They were convicted in 2014. But if you remember, there was this funny thing that happened during the trial. One of the members of the jury tried to bribe other members of the jury. No, the judge allowed the matter to continue, but it was later shown that that was a mistake. The men were convicted. They appealed to the Jamaican Court of Appeal, and the Jamaican Court of Appeal dismissed the appeal, said, no, stay in jail. We don't think there are any grounds on which to overturn this. They then appealed to the Privy Council. We call it the Privy Council. The full name is really the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, and it's what is called Jamaica's final Court of Appeal. So that's the last place you can go if you're dissatisfied with what has happened in your case. So the men appealed to the Privy Council, and on March 14 this year, 2024, the Privy Council ruled that because of juror misconduct, because of that juror who tried to bribe other members of the jury, that, I beg your pardon, that as a result, the convictions of the four men should be quashed, meaning thrown out. But the Privy Council didn't let them go. What the Privy Council said was that, something, we're going to send this matter back to the Jamaican Court of Appeal for them to decide if these men should be retried. So between March and June, a number of things happened. We saw the men file what is called a habeas corpus application. Habeas corpus literally means it's Latin. Remember I tell you, all the stuff to do with the law is in Latin. It literally means bring the body. And what the men and their lawyers were saying is that, hold on, after the Privy Council quashed the convictions, we're no longer accused of anything, so we shouldn't be in jail. But the court said, no, the charges are still there, meaning you're still charged with murder. It's just that you're not convicted, and you're not eligible for bail based on what was in the Bail Act. So the Privy Council could not have made any order that would have set you free. In other words, stay in jail until the hearing in June. So we're now in June, we're at the hearing. So what happened now? What happened on the first day? Well, not a lot, certainly not a lot that was exciting. The lawyers spent the entire day going through affidavits and making arguments to the court as to which lines in the affidavit should be struck out, thrown out. So for instance, they might say, an affidavit, I should say, is a document that contains sworn evidence. It's a written document, but it's one you swear to, and it is witnessed, and the court can rely on it. But in an affidavit, you're only supposed to talk about things that you know about, that you know are true. And the prosecutors, for instance, they were saying that there was hearsay in some of the affidavits and legal arguments which shouldn't be there. So basically today was spent going through the affidavits line by line. Yes, I told you, things can get tedious, and making arguments as to whether or not they should be struck out or they should be left in. No. In some cases, the court said, okay, strike it out. You know, so for instance, somebody in an affidavit said government workers were leaking evidence to the media. Judge said, out. She said that's actually also defamatory, you know. But then there were other things that the judge said should be left in. There are 3 judges presiding. I should have said that, but you hear most of the talking, as in any case, from the judge who is in charge, who is presiding in that particular matter. And in this case, it's Justice Marva McDonald Bishop. So she was leading, really. You heard the other judges, Justice Fraser, David Fraser, as well as Paulette Williams, coming from time to time, but most of the talking was done by Justice McDonald Bishop. So did anything interesting happen today? I would say yes. The court has ordered an audit of all the cases it has sent back to the Supreme Court over the past 6 years for retrial. Now, this is actually significant because what it does is tell us that the Court of Appeal is going to be looking very seriously at what will happen if they order a retrial. If they order a retrial in this matter, how long is it likely to take for that to happen? Again, the men have now been in custody for 13 years. Is it that retrials are taking 10 years to get off the ground? We don't know. And the judge said that the Court of Appeal can't be in the dark on this. This is such an important issue. The reason the Privy Council sent it back to the Jamaican Court of Appeal is because the local courts are supposed to understand local conditions and understand what is happening in the justice system. And Justice McDonald Bishop said, we don't know what's going on. So they're going to get this list from the Supreme Court that is going to tell them when they, the Court of Appeal, send the matter back to the Supreme Court, what has happened to it? What has happened to the matters that have been sent back over the past 6 years? Have they all been retried and they're done and people gone about them business, all gone to jail or stayed in jail, I guess I should say? Or is it that they're still languishing? They haven't even started yet. So that, I think, is going to be actually really important. The judge did say it's not going to be binding, meaning whatever the results are, the court can still decide what it's going to do with those results and how it's going to use that kind of information. But the fact that we're hearing this requested, the judge called it a minor audit, I think is very significant, and it's something we're going to look out for. Another thing we're going to look out for in the next couple of days is going to be the argument about publicity. Now, you know, I said a cartel case and everybody start pay attention. And this is a case that has been covered in Jamaica, across the Caribbean, across the entire world. Everybody's paying attention to this case, right? So the question is, given the fact that there's so much information out there, people have been talking about this case for so long, a lot of it, I should say, is misinformation. Make sure where you get your information, here is a good place. Given that there's all this information and misinformation out there, can you really find a jury at this stage who is going to be able to sit down in a retrial of Kartel and his 3 co-accused and listen to the evidence that is before the court and only take that evidence into account when they're coming to whatever verdict they might come to? Kartel and his lawyers are going to be arguing that no, you're not going to be able to get a jury that can be fair given the amount of publicity in this case. But on the other hand, the prosecutors are going to be arguing that you still can achieve fairness in this matter. So tomorrow, Tuesday, the actual arguments start now as to retrial or no retrial. So we can expect a little bit more intensity, a little bit more drama, perhaps certainly more interesting proceedings than what happened here. All right. So make sure, check it out again. I'll update you what's happening in the Kartel case. And remember, serious information, real information, information you can rely on. All right. Next time.